it's me, Frauke, and in today's video I want to talk about how you can discover your purpose using your birth chart. Discovering the blueprint of a birth chart has always been my major interest with astrology, and I know I look quite young, but I'm actually approaching my 30s. I'm turning 29 this year. And I've had my one or two moments of redefining what I want to do with my life, and using my birth chart has really helped me to tune in to what it is that I want to do with my life. And since then I've also discovered patterns in other people's birth charts that are pointing towards what it is that makes them fulfilled. And I really want to share that knowledge with you in the hopes that it's going to guide you to a more fulfilled and happy life as well. So yes, let's get started. For those of you who are completely new to astrology and you don't know how do I get my birth chart, you can do this for absolutely free. For example, a website that I like using is astrotheme.com. And you type in the date of your birth, the location of your birth as close as possible, and time of your birth, again as close as possible. I know some of you don't have access to that, but yeah, get as close as possible. And then you have this beautiful chart, and you can hover with your mouse over all of these items and read through this a little bit. So what is purpose? Let's start with this first. A lot of people believe that purpose is only a profession, a job that you're doing. However, purpose is much more, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the way you earn your money. It is a feeling blueprint that makes you feel like life is worth it, life has a meaning, and it's feeling right. Sometimes purpose doesn't necessarily only feel good and cozy, but it feels right. And yes, purpose is about feeling. Sometimes you can rationalize it. You experience a certain thing in your life and you say, this is what I want to do with my life, and it's quite rational. But more often, it's just about a feeling. You can't really put it into words. It is just there and it compels you to move forward. I also want to talk about that nothing has gone wrong if, let's say, you're 18, 19, 20 years old, or you're 25 years old, or you're 35 years old, and you feel like you're still lost and you haven't found your purpose. Sometimes it really is a matter of time. I know this is frustrating to hear, but sometimes trauma and purpose can be connected. And you have to go through a learning first to understand what it is that you really want to contribute to this world. And you feel like everybody around you knows what they want to do with your life and you don't. Nothing has gone wrong. For some of us, purpose is about experimenting. And for some of us, it is about not exactly knowing what it is, but to just take a dive into the darkness and to just do trial and error and to just experiment what it might be. This could be part of your purpose, to experiment with life and to see how life is not just about this one linear life path. So you can eventually, for example, maybe teach people about how life is not linear and that life is meant to be lived and not just to follow a straight path. I just want to put this out there because chances are high that the people watching this video feel a little bit more lost and less certain about what it is, and I want to give you encouragement, and I'm in the same boat with you, by the way. Still don't have it all figured out. Who does anyway? So yeah, I want to encourage you that it's okay and you're still on your path. The first thing that I always look at when I look at somebody else's birth chart is the North nodes. The North Node, or the lunar nodes in particular, are not really a point in the sky, you know, like a star or a planet, but it's actually a mathematical calculated point that you're gonna find in the birth chart. And I see a lot of ideologies talking about how the South Node is something that you have done in a past life and that you now have to overcome, and that the North Node is something you have to focus on in this life now. I have a little bit of a different view on this, even though I do think that past lives are a thing. I kind of disagree with many of the texts talking about how your South Node is like negative karma, something that you have to shed and get rid of. I don't share this view because I truly believe, and it's actually more than believing, I know it deep down inside of myself, that you don't come to this life with baggage and you come fresh into this life. Yes, your past lives, if you believe in that, do have an influence on what you're meant to do in this life, but I don't believe that you are punished for something that you have done in a past life. By the way, if you don't believe in past lives, or if you're more like you're an atheist astrologer, for example, take what I say, don't take what I say too seriously. You can discard that. It's not important for the matter of understanding purpose in life. Your lunar nodes are gonna be located in a particular sign. So your North Node and your South Node are gonna be opposite each other. So for example, I have my North Node in Scorpio, meaning that my South Node is automatically in Taurus because they're opposite each other in the birth chart. The sign is a really important thing to see what's going to be the overall theme of somebody's life. However, you share this with many people of your generation. So for example, people that are born in the second half of 1994 and born in 1995, these entire people all have their North Node in Scorpio. So it's a less personal thing. It's more of, this is a general blueprint of the direction that your life is headed and themes you have to deal with. So for example, staying with Scorpio North Node, the theme is going to be to embrace change, to embrace transformation, to throw yourself in the unknown, which is obviously easier said than done. So my take on the lunar nodes is that your North Node is something that's going to be quite uncomfortable for you, but it's going to be your calling. You can feel it, it's drawing you in this direction, and even if you're not consciously aware of it, it is still happening. And your South Node is more something that you have already mastered, something you're already good at, and you don't have to discard it, but it's your comfort zone. And it's your gifts. And the thing is this, and that's something I've often noticed, when people resist their calling, resist going towards the direction that their North Node is going to call them in, these South Node gifts start turning into something, into their more toxic counterpoints, you could say. And when they start embracing the North Node, all these gifts from the South Node, they start to blossom and they start to support this purpose. So for example, staying with the Scorpio North Node, the theme is going to be to embrace transformation, to embrace depth in life, you know, not just take things on a surface level. And the Taurus South Node is, you know, kind of your comfort zone. So for a lot of people, it's about earthly pleasures, it's about maybe a sense for aesthetics. This can come in a lot of shapes or forms. Maybe also indulgence, you know, and when a person is staying in their comfort zone and they're not really taking the leap of faith that they deep down know they should be taken, this Taurus gifts are starting to turn into like sluggishness, laziness, overindulgence, just doing things on a surface level, aesthetics just because it looks good and it's not benefiting anyone. I can really see that happening and playing out with myself too if I don't do what my heart is telling me to do. And then when you go into the direction of your purpose, suddenly it turns into this really beautiful thing. Like, let's say you take a leap of faith and you build a new website, something that has been on your mind. I'm just making a scenario up right here, and suddenly your sense of aesthetic is supporting you in that, or you're working really hard and for something that you really believe in, and your sense of also being able to relax and enjoy the simple things in life, which is a really Taurus thing to do, is now supporting that so you don't suffer a burnout. Now let's move on to the sign that your South and North Node are in. This is now a little bit more personal, and it's really good if you have the exact time of birth, because then your birth chart starts at the exact time you were born and how the sky was at this particular point in time, and so the house it's in is going to be as accurate as possible. I would say when it comes to the lunar nodes, the house is even more important, because this will be the area in your life where your purpose is gonna unfold, and that's the juicy stuff, right? So it's not necessarily the theme, but it's gonna be the exact area. And I'm gonna give you a few examples here. So you can always look up online what are the signs standing for, what are the houses standing for. And you need to do a little bit of interpretation and look like, how could this be true for my life? Don't take everything by word that you read online or pick up online. You need to use your own sense of distinguishing like what is true for me and what might not be true for me, right? Because you are a complex human being. You have lived with yourself your entire life, so don't just let an internet guru tell you you shouldn't be doing this in your life because it's wrong. But I'm gonna give you a few examples. Starting again with myself, I have my North Node in the 11th house. The 11th house is the house of Aquarius. What is it standing for? It's standing for online communication. Look at what we're doing here. It's standing for something that's a little bit more avant-garde or like futuristic, maybe something that the rest of society would say, you're a little bit gaga for doing this. And it's also standing for groups of people, communities, not necessarily this one-on-one communication thing, but something that's larger than that. And it's also standing for good causes, like not doing something necessarily for money, like NGOs, for example, or NPOs, non-profit organizations like UNICEF or environmental causes. This is all located in the 11th house. So naturally, my South Node is in the 5th house, which is something I'm already comfortable in. Fifth house is the house of Leo, so it's about presenting myself, being able to speak in front of a camera, being able to have a certain sense of presentation, maybe a certain sense of style. Like, I kind of feel comfortable at stages, and I don't know why. It's something I just know how to do, and I've always known how to do. And it's then supporting my North Node. And the calling, for example, to start this YouTube channel, when I started following this, all these qualities came in handy. For example, if you have your North Node in the 12th house, you might be compelled to go in the direction of arts, as it is the house of Pisces, or you're gonna feel compelled to go into the military, or a hospital, or a psychic ward, something that is kind of an extra world on its own. I know two people with this placement really well, and for both of them this is true. Okay, so another really important part to look at in your birth chart are your big three: your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. I could do an entire video about the moon sign, about the sun sign, about the ascendant, but I believe there's already really good content on YouTube that you can find if you want to know more about these specific signs. My specialty is seeing the bigger picture. It's something I'm really good at doing, so I will tell you how these three play into the bigger picture of what you're meant to do here. Your sun sign is the area where you are shining, and the sun is shining today. How beautiful. So when, let's say you have your sun in Gemini, your ego and where the light of consciousness is shining is in this particular sign and in the qualities of this sign. So usually your sun sign plays a huge part in the actual physical activities that you are going to be doing with regards to your purpose. So for example, with Gemini, this might be somebody who uses their intellect, and it's going to be like a really substantial part of what they're going to do in terms of their purpose. Or so for example, I have a Taurus sun, and as some of you might know, I work in the field of physical therapy. I touch people. Okay, this sounded creepy, but you get the idea. So the work that I do is quite physical. Because this is about your general state of health, it's about your ego, and also about the actual thing you're going to be good at and you're going to shine at. So really take this into consideration. Your moon sign, however, is going to be your emotions, and it's going to be what will emotionally fulfill you. And if you are a very emotional person, look for your moon sign. If you're more a mental person, it might not be that important to you, but if you are an emotional person, really look at your moon sign. So for example, a Sagittarius moon, while they may be working with their hands, might be really fulfilled by spiritual endeavors, and they might always be onto a new project. They might always have new things they want to discover, and this is really important for yourself. So for example, if you have a Sagittarius moon, don't expect yourself to work the same job for 5 years in a row. You're somebody who wants to move on quicker, maybe. Might not be the case, but it may be the case. So if this is something you encounter, don't be afraid, don't feel like a failure, but say, this is what's emotionally fulfilling me, so I really gotta chase that. I really go in the direction of that. And then your ascendant is gonna point towards your first response to the world, how other people perceive you, but also the climate, how you perceive the world. Kind of like if it were a book, your ascendant would be the genre of the book. And this is also really important to take into consideration, especially when it comes to limiting beliefs surrounding your purpose. How do I view the world? And if you read up on your ascendant, you will automatically see, okay, yeah, this could be a limiting belief of mine, and this could be holding me back. I find that this is really helpful to really moving forward, is to not just focus on the positive, but also focus on what could hold me back. Like, where am I still stuck? So for example, let's say you have a Libra ascendant. What might keep you stuck is that you feel like you always have to please other people. You feel like the world is a place where people always want you to be nice and they always want you to be harmonious. But your path of purpose might be in the direction of sometimes saying, yes, I'm good at that, I'm a harmonious person, but I need to let go of that sometimes and say, F that, I don't want to always fulfill other people's expectations of me. And that's going to be like a really crucial part of your healing journey and of following your purpose. Or if you have a Scorpio ascendant, it might be like the world is a hostile place. I always feel like people want to screw me over and I can't trust anybody. Where's that coming from? How could I slowly, in really slow steps, start to trust more? That's obviously a slow process, but you can do this with basically any ascendant and see, how am I having limiting beliefs towards what's going on around me? And that is something I've never encountered in a video on YouTube yet. Maybe it already exists, but this is something that I found to be true for all the people that are surrounding me, that I work with, that are my friends, and also for myself. So I really wanted to share this information. Look at your ascendant and look at what is it telling you about the limiting beliefs that are holding you back, that you have towards the world, and your purpose is about interacting with the world. If you liked this video, consider subscribing and clicking this bell icon. I feel so ridiculous for saying this, but you know, the attention spans of people have become quite short with social media and all that stuff. And if you like a creator and you're really, you know, vibing with them, you really help us by clicking that bell icon so we stay in your zone and in your bubble. The last part I want to get to is your chart ruler. Now this is where it gets a little bit more theoretical, but there are also pages out there who tell you what your chart ruler is. So it's basically the most dominant part of your chart. So for example, my chart ruler is Pluto. Yay! Chart ruler is a planet that is associated with major points of your birth chart. So for example, if you have a planet that's conjunct, meaning in really closely sitting to your ascendant, or you have a lot of planets in the same house, and let's say most of your planets are sitting in the 7th house, which is the house of Libra, and the planet ruling Libra is Venus, so Venus would be your chart ruler. Again, I could make an entire video about this, but there are really sufficient videos on the YouTube here that exactly tell you how to find out what your chart ruler is. In terms of your purpose, I really recommend doing this. So I know this video is really broad and it doesn't give you maybe all the answers you're looking for right away, but maybe it's giving you like a general map on how to go about looking at your birth chart to find out your purpose. If you are interested in getting somebody else's point of view on your birth chart, I offer purpose readings. You can look at my website, you can book a reading with me, and I promise I'm a really compassionate reader. I'm gonna look at your chart, I'm not gonna tear you into pieces. If that's something you want to do, I'm open for this. You can book me and I would love to help you. That being said, thank you so much for lending me your attention, taking the time to watch this video. It means a lot to me. I hope it was helpful to you, and see you next time. Have a great day.